What is up, football fans? Welcome back to Play Action Takes, a HOPENY's NFL podcast. Sunday was immaculate. We had a record set by Josh Allen. We had last-second field goals. We had overtime games. We had controversies in Sunday Night Football. We just had everything there is to give in an NFL Sunday. Arguably my favorite week of the season so far on a Sunday. Just Red Zone was blasting. The multi-view was all over the TV. It started at 8:30 a.m. I couldn't get enough football yesterday, but football is back. That's week 11 in the books, one of the best weeks of the season. Shout out to you, the listener. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already on Apollo HOU on YouTube or wherever you get Play Action Takes on podcast networks, on like Apple, Spotify, wherever. Shout out to our sponsor, Zing Zang, America's #1 Bloody Mary mix. We love Zing Zang over here. Zang responsibly all season long. And shout out to Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code PATNFL. Play your first $5. You get $100 in bonus entries when you sign up using our promo code. I'm your host, Stone Strengman, joined always by Kush Patel. How we doing, brother?
We're doing great, man. We had a MVP type performance from Josh Allen that we're going to get into later. We had some pass interference controversies going on this week. We had a great NFC battle between the Rams and the Seahawks, which we're going to talk about a little bit later, and a lot of great division matchups this week.
There's been a lot of good weeks this season. I think it's one of the best NFL seasons we've had in the regular season in a long time. There's not a team that's just like head and shoulders above everybody else right now. And the Chiefs are 5-5, which we'll talk about in a minute. Like, this is a crazy season so far, and that was a crazy week. Crazy close games. Like the Bills and the Bucks, which we're going to start with, had, I don't know, like 8 lead changes in the middle of like the third quarter at some point, or late in the third quarter. It was an absolutely barn burner of a game. Bills win 44-32. The Bucks were all the way in it until kind of the fourth quarter when Josh Allen decided to just say no more. That's it. I've thrown 2 picks. I'm not doing that anymore. He threw for 317 yards and 3 touchdowns on only 19 completions, but he also had 6 carries, 40 yards, and 3 touchdowns. 6 touchdowns total. He's the first person in NFL history to have multiple 3-touchdown throwing, 3-touchdown rushing games. Like, absolutely insane. And Baker played his ass off. The rushing game played their ass off for the Bucks. And at the end of the day, Josh Allen said, nope, I'm the MVP for a reason. Give me those 6 tugs. 44-32, Bills win.
One of the wildest things about this game wasn't even like the game itself. It was the Keon Coleman stuff where they, I don't even know exactly what happened, but all I know is he wasn't playing. It was like a disciplinary thing, I guess. He didn't show up to a meeting or something like that. And then after the game, Deion Dawkins kind of like calls him out in front of the media. And then this is after a game where Sean Tucker from the Bucks had like 3 touchdowns in this game. Josh Allen had 3 passing, 3 rushing. Like, there was a lot of stuff to unpack from this game, and it was a wild game.
And like Sean Tucker, 19 carries, 106 yards, 2 touchdowns. He had a 43-yarder in there. Like, he had 2 long ones. Like, it was the strangest conundrum because I've watched a good bit of Bucks this season. I've been enjoying the Bucks, enjoying the Baker Mayfield experience. Sean Tucker, I've never heard of at this point, and he had 100 yards, two tugs on the Bills. But yeah, the Keon Coleman stuff was it's frustrating as someone that takes him in his fantasy league almost every year because I'm like, who's Josh Allen just going to throw the ball to at this point? Like, it's got to be him. It's Tyrell Shavers, Mississippi State legend. People forget 2020 season. He was there, but the Keon Coleman stuff, he misses a meeting, and then Deion Dawkins says, hey, it's time to grow up. This is a big boy job. You're an adult now. Like, show up for the meeting. And Keon Coleman's on the sideline just having a good old time in street clothes and everything like that. And just like, it looks like he's over it. And then I saw a tweet yesterday afternoon during the Keon Coleman stuff. It was like a quote tweet from 2023 or 4, whenever Keon Coleman got drafted. And they're like, that's the worst pick the Bills could have selected because that's just not the type of wide receiver that Josh Allen likes to throw to. The back shoulder fades, the deep 50-50 balls. Josh Allen doesn't tend to do that all the time. And Keon Coleman, that's his game. That's what he excels at. And he just hasn't done anything in the NFL so far. He's had 1 or 2 good weeks here in a couple of seasons, and it might be time for him to be done. But in Buffalo, but Josh Allen, incredible performance. Not exactly what I thought was going to happen with Josh Allen this week, but pretty damn close. Like, I knew he was going to go off after getting beat soundly by the Dolphins last week.
One thing about this game to me, I kind of was thinking about it. Um, are you concerned about the Bills' defense right now because they are giving up a lot of points to a lot of different teams? I mean, some of these games they've lost, like the Patriots game, several weeks ago, and I just, just whenever thinking about the playoffs, because let's be honest with the Bills, where obviously anything can happen. I don't think they're going to miss the playoffs, but I think the defense is a big cause for concern because they just haven't been able to get over the hump in the playoffs. And to me, a good running game and a great defense is going to be the thing that's going to get Josh Allen over the hump. And the running game has been okay throughout the season. The defense, I'm just not seeing with the defense right now.
And like the running game is good every third game, maybe right
Yeah.
now. Like James Cook will go off every third game, and you're like, oh, there's James Cook. Welcome back. Welcome to your contract. And then yesterday they had 97 yards on 23 carries, so 4.2 average, which isn't bad. They just didn't run it a lot. But James Cook only had 48 yards. And if Josh Allen doesn't go superhero mode and have 6 for 40 and 3 touchdowns, that number is a lot less. It looks a lot worse. And yeah, that's kind of an issue. And then the defense is definitely an issue. We said it kind of coming into the season. We think the defense is a little bit less, but the offense should be good enough to win a majority of their games, which is kind of the case. They're 7-3 right now, which isn't exactly where I saw them, but they're not far off. So I think they're fine on the offensive end, but the defensive end is definitely an issue. They sign a Bosa brother, and they think he's going to fix the Von Miller role that wasn't that good that year. And Ed Oliver and Matt Milano were hurt to start the season. They've got Jordan Poyer now. They signed him to a practice squad, and now he's just been elevated for the last 2 games and just getting dominated in every facet of the game and every time he's in the game. And it looks kind of scary for him. And I don't know what to take from it, but like, who else is going to score 44 points in the playoffs in the AFC? That's the thing that I kind of look at is like, I don't know how many teams can keep up scoring with them, but if you can stop them on offense, you're definitely going to be able to score on defense.
Yeah, and then the other thing you talked about, scoring 40 plus. It's just there's a lot of great defenses in the AFC. The Broncos are one of the best. The Texans, if they get there, are one of the best. The Jaguars are okay, but I think all of these teams in the AFC, they have one thing they have is a strong pass rush. And I mean, if there's anything we know about the playoffs in the NFL, if you have a strong pass rush in the NFL in the playoffs, it can really slow down these offenses. And I'm trying to rack my brain thinking about, did the Bills, like the past 5 years, have they ever scored over like 40 in a game in the playoffs?
I doubt it because the
Yeah.
Chiefs were that good, and maybe they did against did they do it against the Texans in like 2020, or did y'all beat them in 2020, right?
Yeah,
21 or whatever it was.
I think they scored like, I know it was below 30 in
Okay,
2019.
yeah,
Yeah.
I can't remember,
Yeah.
but I'm sure they've gotten really close, if not done it one time in the first, like in the wild card round or the divisional round, but definitely not against the Chiefs. So, and we saw like defense wins championships. Like the biggest example for me is the 2013 Super Bowl, where it's the Seahawks versus the Broncos. Peyton Manning just threw for 6,000 yards and 60 touchdowns and set all these records and stuff. And the Seahawks were like, Legion of Boom, we're going to take care of it. Don't worry about it. And they scored a bajillion points in the in the
In the
Super
Super
Bowl
Bowl,
and
yeah.
held them to
43-8.
yeah, I mean, under 10 points in the Super Bowl is crazy. One, two, scoring 40 plus in the Super Bowl is crazy. So defense wins championships at the end of the day. And if you don't have a great defense, your offense has to carry a whole lot more. But if your defense is bad, you're not on the field on offense a lot. Like, obviously, yesterday's was a different type of game where there's just big play after big play and quick scoring drives. Like, in the last 3 minutes of the first half, I feel like both teams scored twice. Like, they were just scoring at will. So your offense is on the field, but you're putting your defense out there again, like after a 1 minute drive, and they're tired already and they're not that good already. So, yeah, it's an interesting team, but Josh Allen, if he wants to just carry him to a victory, he's shown the capability to do it.
Yeah, and I think the thing to watch, like from now until the end of the season, is can Josh Allen continue to carry him? I think he can, but I think everybody outside of Buffalo like still has that concern. Like, okay, when we get to January, is the defense going to be able to step up? Is Josh Allen is there going to be way too much pressure on Josh Allen in the playoffs?
Probably,
Yeah.
but we'll have to wait and see. It's only week 11 right now. We're on to week 12 on Thursday when we record, but Next game we're going to talk about, our teams have won 3 out of their last 4, and people aren't talking about it enough. Okay, we're not talking about it enough because we were kind of over the season. But 2 absolutely gross games with the exact same score, 16-13. Texans win against the Titans. Dolphins win against the Commanders. What did you see from the Texans game? I was recording Clean Sheet Advice when this game was going on. I had Red Zone on my iPad right next to me, so I was peeking down every once in a while. But all I could see was 3-0 Titans for the full half. And I was just like, this is gross, man. I'm glad I'm not all the way dialed into this one.
Yeah, I mean, I want to be honest. I didn't really see a whole lot different than what we, kind of been seeing from the Texans all year long. The offense just is, for whatever reason, not that great, not that good, and the defense, they've been keeping up. They've been keeping the Texans in every single game this season. Whether it was the early losses or the recent wins that we've had. But Daniil Hunter and Will Anderson Jr. are to me, they're the best pass rush duo in the NFL right now. Um, the Titans' offensive line is not good, and I kind of expected Cam Ward to make not more accurate throws, but more like flashy throws. He did make that one late in the game, that deep pass to the tight end.
Yeah.
Dropped it in the bucket, amazing throw, and I kind of expected a little more of that from him, but I think that's just a testament to how good this Texans defense is. And then as far as the offense, Woody Marks did get more snaps, so I think that's a positive for the Texans. And then the offensive line, they had another combination of the offensive line again. They had Titus Howard playing guard and Trent Brown at tackle. So you know, at this
Yeah.
point, it's I kind of tweeted after the game yesterday. I was like, look, this is what we're gonna have. This is what we have with the Texans. At this point, it's just survive in advance. Try to go 1-0 each week and see where you're at.
Yeah. They're 5-5. So, like, if you're 5-5 at the start of the season, you're like, okay, it's not great, but what's wrong? And then we tell you the offense is bad, and you're like, no, not again, please, God, no. And
Yeah.
like Woody Marks had 18 carries, but Jeff Simmons was blowing up everything on the Titans, and we glazed on him preseason in the AFC South division preview. Like I love Jeff Simmons. I went to school
Great
with him,
player.
so but he's phenomenal, and
There was one point in the game where they lined him up like wide outside, and I'm like, man, this guy can do everything.
yeah, like the Mississippi State team, that 2018 team, had Montez Sweat on one side, and they put Jeff Simmons, and they just floated him either in between the tackles or in between the tackle and the guard, or put him at nose tackle. Like they could just put him wherever they wanted, depending on what they were. They had the number 1 defense in the nation with just those 2 guys, and Jonathan Abram as a safety. He was another first-round pick. So Jeff Simmons has been a dog for years, but he showed his existence yesterday against that Texans offense, which I know you have Davis Mills in there, and it's not the full team, and the offense hasn't been good, but Jeff Simmons was blowing everything up. So, I mean, the run game was bad again for the Texans, but Davis Mills, 274 yards, touchdown. Nico Collins, 9 for 92, one of his best games of the season, it feels like, and a touchdown. But you did just enough at the end of the day to get a win. The Dolphins did the same thing in Spain. It looked like they gave that game away 4 different times in the fourth quarter, but walked away with a win in overtime. I would have left Mike McDaniel in Spain because we could have just won that game in regulation twice if they had just kicked field goals. But yeah, our team's won 3 out of the last 4, and that in the hunt thing in like 2 weeks is going to be awesome. That graphic that goes on CBS Sport, and the Dolphins and the Texans are both in the hunt. It's going to hit like crack. I can't wait.
I feel like you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like the Dolphins fans out here do not want to see you guys win games, and then the Texans fans out here like we're trying to win games and get to that spot. I saw a crazy. You talked about the in the hunt graphic.
Yeah.
Near the end of after the Broncos and the Chiefs game, they showed the graphic. The 3 teams in the hunt at 5-5 were the Houston Texans, the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, if you would have told me that in September, that's what it would look like, I would have looked at you like you're crazy.
It's a weird season. And like you said, Dolphins fans are really wanting to lose right now because they'd rather just have a top pick and have the new GM come in and kind of figure out what's going on. I called my dad after the game, FaceTime, and I was just like, well, that was certainly a football game. He goes, yep. I was like, I don't even feel good about the win. Like, that's where we're at as Dolphins fans. It's just like, sure, we won, but I don't feel good about this team. Like, Sure, the defense held them to 13 points, but it's the backup quarterback, and you let him go on a 44-yard rush in fourth quarter when you needed to stop. Like, just a bunch of bad shit in the game, and then you squeak out a game in overtime. And it's just like, it was so dumb, and it's so stupid. But we keep winning, and I know we're going to be like 6-7 after the Steelers game in a few weeks. We get a bye week, we get the Saints, the Jets, and then the Steelers. I'm like, we're going to be 6-7. I already know it. We're probably going to be 7-7 because Aaron Rodgers is hurt. And then all of a sudden we're in the hunt, and we got a worse draft pick, and then you're sitting there and you're like, what was that all for? Just to miss the playoffs by a game again. So that's what I'm preparing for as a Dolphins fan. I don't know what else to say about this team. It's ridiculous. Speaking about bad quarterbacks, welcome to the league, JJ McCarthy. PU. He threw a pick every time I looked down. I know he only has 2 picks, but like every time I looked at that game, he's throwing a pick. The Bears didn't look great. The Vikings are in like position to score. He's throwing picks in the end zone. It was a 50-50 ball. I get it, to Jordan Addison, but like 16 of 32, 150 yards, a touchdown, and 2 interceptions, 4.7 average per completion. Not what you want to see. I can't believe they lost that game 1, and I can't believe the Bears won that game 2. It's a crazy game.
Yeah, JJ McCarthy was bad. Probably his worst game as a pro so far. I mean, anybody that watches the podcast knows that I'm a big Michigan guy. Proponent of JJ McCarthy right here.
Yeah.
He wasn't good. And a lot social media was blasting him for his tough guy look, in the locker room, in those locker room speeches, and it's just he wasn't good. And I don't know if you saw this, but social media was blowing up about Justin Jefferson looking frustrated on the sideline.
Yeah.
That's something to watch. Maybe a AJ Brown situation going on in Minnesota. I don't know. We'll see. But shout out to the Bears, man. The Bears are 7-3. Do they lead the division?
I think they do because the Lions are 6-4.
They lead the division.
Maybe not because the Packers have the tie, so their winning percentage might be better just slightly. But yeah, they're in contention for the division. They're maybe one game better.
As of right now, they are in the playoffs with the playoffs started today. If they can continue that and get into the playoffs, would you consider Ben Johnson as an NFC Coach of the Year candidate?
Absolutely. Okay, so they are winning the division right now, 700 winning percentage, and then the Packers are at 650 because of the tie against the Cowboys early in the season, which was a fun game. Yeah, I mean, it's Mike Vrabel and it's Shane Steichen and it's Ben Johnson right now. Those are, and maybe Sean McVay kind of sneaks in there. They're 8-2 right now. They're looking really good. Maybe it's the Broncos. Maybe it's Sean Payton at 9-2. Like if they walk away with the number 1 seed, it's like hard not to give it to them, even though they haven't won games in a fashion that I would like to see. So yeah, I think Coach of the Year is kind of wide open, and Ben Johnson's definitely a name that you should look at in that scenario because that team was horrific last year, and they're 7-3 right now. They need to win 2 more games. They're above 500 with several more games to play. So yeah, I mean, credit to the Bears for winning that game. I didn't think anyone deserved to win it at the end of the day. Like both teams were just bad.
We had a lot of those games this week. A lot of like bad games where nobody wanted to win the damn game.
Yeah, Packers Giants was like that. Yeah, there was the Ravens Browns game was poo Magoo. Like it was terrible. Yeah, but the Bears, credit to them. They're 7-3, which we thought there would be a good jump this year from them just because of having maybe a competent offensive-minded coach in there to fix some things. And then we have the rumblings early in the season of like players not taking practice seriously and all this kind of stuff. And you're like, oh boy, here we go again. And now they're 7-3. So good for the Bears. Good for the Bears.
Yeah, the Bears have been winning. I mean, not convincingly, but they kind of remind me of the Jacksonville Jaguars this year, where they've had some good wins and they've had some bad losses, but the Bears are kind of sticking with it, staying in it, and kind of winning games.
They're doing a lot. They're doing a lot at this point in time. 7-3. I can't believe it. Can't believe a lot of the records that we're seeing. You know what else I can't believe? How much money we've been winning on Underdog this season. I know it started off poorly. I'm up. I'm feeling good, feeling frisky with Underdog Fantasy during the NFL season. Football season is in full swing, and Underdog is the best place to get in on all the action. Go in, you pick a stat, whether it's passing yards, passing touchdowns, rushing yards, receiving yards, receptions, all the stats for NFL season. You pick two from two opposing teams. They don't have to be playing against each other. It's just two different teams, and you can pair them together. If you pick the right picks with the right amount of picks and the right amount of juice on them, you can win up to 5,000 times your money. Again, the Tua higher than interceptions has been hitting at an alarming rate. He didn't have one yesterday, but that's one I'm always pairing every week. I'm prepared to win with that one. And now Josh Allen just rushing touchdowns. He's been doing it a lot recently. I'm going to hit the higher than on that. And then you can win up to 5,000 times your money with a bunch of different picks using promo code PATNFL with Underdog Fantasy. Download the app today. Sign up with promo code PATNFL to score $100 in bonus entries when you play your first $5. So when you play $5 with Underdog Fantasy using our promo code PATNFL, they're going to give you $100 in bonus entries immediately, right off the bat. You can go in, win a lot more money with Underdog Fantasy just with $5. That's all it takes. That's our promo code PATNFL. Underdog, make picks, win money. Must be 18 or older, 19 or older in Alabama and Nebraska, 19 or older in Colorado for some games, 21 and older in Arizona, Massachusetts, and Virginia, and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/play and get terms underscore DFS underscore .html for details. Offer not valid in Maryland, Michigan, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. In New York, call the 24/7 HOPEline at 1-877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY 467-369. That's promo code PATNFL when you sign up. Play your first $5. Get $100 in bonus entries with Underdog Fantasy using our promo code PATNFL. Thank you for sponsoring this episode. Win some money with us this season with Underdog Fantasy. On to the next game. The Giants. I cannot believe they lost that game in that fashion. Absolutely heartbreaking. Brutal. Jameis Winston, welcome back. We were very high on Jameis Winston at the beginning of the season, and it's not for the reasons of football. It's just for the reason of content. And boy, did he deliver. The most backbreaking interception at the end of the game in the end zone. It's just like, welcome back, Jameis. Welcome back. He had a great game heading into that drive, and they were leading it down the field. He throws an interception. The Packers scored really late. You had Malik Willis come in for a little bit. Jordan Love goes out with an injury, comes back. He's roaring down the field. He's throwing deep ball after deep ball. It was beautiful. It was a disgustingly beautiful game. Packers win 27-20 against the Giants.
This is a surprisingly great game to me. Going into the game, I thought Jameis Winston, like, it was cool. Like, we all love Jameis, all his antics,
Mm-hmm.
But I just thought the Packers were gonna win this game convincingly, and they didn't.
No.
And maybe that's a conversation that we're gonna have to have about the Packers. But yeah, this was a up and down game, and man, I just hate it for Jameis because, like, I just know he's been wanting to get out there for the longest. Like, there's so much hype around Jameis as a New York Giant coming in. All their quarterbacks benched or getting hurt, whatever the case may be. Jameis gets his opportunity, and just to lose the game that way was just rough.
And like, they played such a good game. They had a great game on the ground, 142 yards and 3 total touchdowns between 3 rushers. And like, their defense was doing just enough to keep them in the game. And Josh Jacobs goes out, Jordan Love goes out for a little bit, and you're sitting there and you're like, man.
The Giants have had a lot of rough losses this season.
And like, the Broncos game is one thing. That's a really bad one. The next one was another bad one. Like, but they're kind of competitive, strangely enough. Like, even without Jackson Dart, without Cam Scadaboo now, like, they're not bad. Tyron Tracy had a great game, 1988. Devin Singletary had 16 for 44, not a lot, but he had 2 touchdowns. Jameis Winston had a touchdown rushing on the ground, and you're sitting there, you're like, man, they're really about to go tie this game. The Packers get that 2-point conversion to make it a 7-point game towards the end. The Giants are driving all the way down, and then Jameis throws that pick, the infamous Jameis pick, and I wouldn't have it any other way. It's the Jameis Winston experience to the fullest extent. I loved every second of it.
I know you remember this. Fun fact. Remember when Jameis Winston threw 30 interceptions in the season?
Yeah, the 5,000 30-30 club.
Yeah.
He's the only member.
Insane. Yeah.
The only member. the only member to have 5,030 and 30. Like, incredible numbers from him. He's just a content machine without maybe even trying. I think it's just him. That's who he is. He's from Bessemer. Like that's just Jabu, Jameis Winston. Love him dearly. Hate it for the Giants fans. They're 2-9 now. Kind of just completely out of it. It's like time to just go ahead and tank and see if you can get another weapon, maybe an offensive lineman. Just help out Jackson Dart and Cam Scatteraboo next season. But we'll see. No Malik Neighbors this year, no Scatteraboo and no Dart, and they're competitive in games. I think that's a huge testament to how good this team is, even without their coach now, after he gets fired. Like, hey, maybe this team wasn't that bad. Maybe Brian Dable should have just stuck around. But
Yeah, I mean, for a team that just fired their head coach, I thought you would expect them to fold and just not show effort in the game. Like their season's over pretty much. But I think if you're a Giants fan, I know it's a lot of negative, and I know you guys have a lot of heartbreak and uh, a lot of bad football you guys have watched over the past several years. But I think one thing to look forward to is, you know what, the team, they didn't quit. They kind of played hard, and it's just a tough loss. And they've had a lot of them this season. Just too many tough losses.
yeah, it's not ideal. It's poor Packers, poor Packers. They just can't figure out how to stop the run. But poor Giants. I just feel bad for the fans. Like, just watching shit on the field after Eli Manning wins his last Super Bowl, and even with Eli Manning there, they just weren't good. They never made the playoffs, but if they did, they went to the Super Bowl, so good for them. Next game, Jaguars-Chargers. What the hell was that, Chargers? Justin Herbert gets
Yeah, I
benched
did
with
not
8 minutes
expect
left in the
that.
game. Crazy. Jaguars win 35-6. They kind of just dominated from the very beginning. The defense was all over the place. They were in Justin Herbert's face all the time, and they only got 2 sacks on him. But to bench Justin Herbert with 8 minutes left, even if it's a throwaway game, like the game's over at this point, seemed very strange to me. And they just couldn't score on offense. They couldn't run the ball. They have no running backs at this point. Their wide receivers are like fine. They're not great. Like Quentin Johnston, 0 receptions again. Like, that's not good. I don't know what to think about this Chargers team. They're 7-4, so they're definitely not out of it, but they haven't looked good in several weeks. Maybe since the 4th week of the season is the last time I looked at the Chargers. I was like, all right, they're still pretty good. Since then, they haven't been. Jacksonville stays alive. They're 6-4. They're still in contention for the AFC South title, and they're in a wild card spot right now. So good for Jacksonville, I guess.
Yeah, we talked about this last week when we were previewing the Jags and the Chargers. Is I said that, you know, the offensive line, the injuries on the offensive line for the Chargers, I question whether the Jaguars' defensive line could take advantage of it,
Mm-hmm.
and they take full advantage of it in this game. They had a fourth string defensive end that got a big hit and a sack on Justin Herbert. I don't remember his name, but I believe he got flagged for roughing the passer. But
Sure.
even so, the defensive line was getting to the quarterback. The Chargers couldn't do anything on offense, like you said. And then while Trevor Lawrence, like his numbers didn't look that great, I thought he played better as far as like taking care of the ball and just running the offense. And they scored 35 points. Like you said, they're still in contention for the AFC South crown right now. The Colts haven't run away with it yet. I believe the Jaguars play the Colts 2 more times this season.
Sounds right.
Yeah, so that's going to be a fun battle to watch. And then the Colts have a tough schedule coming up. The Jaguars, it's there's some winnable games in there with whoever they have coming up, and this AFC South's going to be fun to watch, man. And then
Yeah.
on the Chargers, like with how the Chiefs have kind of been up and down. The Broncos have been pretty dominant so far. I could see a scenario where the Chargers miss the playoffs.
It's very probable. If they keep playing like that, there's no shot that they make the playoffs. Justin Herbert at 81 yards passing. That was it. And they had no one over like 20 yards rushing. It was tough. Next game, though, my game of the week heading into the weekend, maybe the Bucks and the Bills game ended up surpassing this game. But at the end of the day, Rams Seahawks was a pleasure to watch. It was a playoff battle from the beginning, from the jump. Sam Darnold threw 4 picks and they lost by 2 points. If he throws one less pick, maybe they win that game. Maybe they can hit that field goal at the end. Maybe they can get there. But holy, what a game. 21-19, Rams win. What just a phenomenal game from start to finish. I enjoyed every second of that.
Yeah, it was a great game to watch if you're not a Rams fan or a
Yes.
Seahawks fan. But I think the story of this game was really what the Rams defense was able to do to Sam Darnold. You know, we haven't really seen this Sam Darnold all year long, even last year. He looked flustered, he was pressured, and he didn't make good decisions, you know, under pressure yesterday. To the tune of 4 interceptions. I can't believe they still had a chance to win the damn game, you know, after a 4 interception game from Sam Darnold. Um,
Yeah, I
man,
think
wide right to miss, and they pinned him down deep,
mhm.
and that offense still kind of drove a little bit to kind of give him a chance. But man, yeah, I if you ask me like, am I out on the Seahawks after this game? I'm not. I'm not just because I don't think we're gonna get that Sam Darnold every single game from this point, but you know, I do think the Rams defense did a great job, and then I think Seattle's defense was great too. They kept them in the game after a 4 interception game from their quarterback.
Yeah, so the Rams had a bunch of short fields, so that helps. But the Seahawks kept them to 249 yards total, like 130 passing, 119 rushing. So like the run game was a little tough. Kyren Williams was really good yesterday as well. But the silver lining for the Seahawks here is that Sam Darnold threw 4 picks and you missed a field goal to win the game.
Yeah.
They lost by 2 and he threw 4 picks. Like if you just cut that down to 2 picks or 1 pick, like you probably win that game pretty easily. Your defense kept you in it. The offense just, it was fine, but it wasn't good enough. And then throwing 4 picks is absolutely not good enough. He only scored 1 touchdown. So he scored 2 touchdowns to win that game. That's all it really is. That's what it boiled down to. And the Rams stepped up. That defense was great. They had a bunch of yards through the air. They're trying to chase you and get back into it. But outside of that, the defense was great. Like even the Rams' weapons, they just didn't, like Devontae had that 1 catch for 1 yard and a touchdown, and that was it. Puka Nacua was the only guy that had like more than 2 receptions for the Rams, but you couldn't stop Kyren Williams, and you threw 4 picks. At the end of the day, it's going to be really hard to win football games at that point. And the loss is on Sam Darnold because he threw 4 picks. That at the end of the day, and he knows that. So silver lining, you could have won that game even though you had 4 turnovers. That's pretty good.
Did you see Ernest Jones in a post game press conference just like really come to the defense of his quarterback? I forgot what the question was, but he was pretty much like, you know, saying that, look, guys, it's not Sam Darnold's fault. And you know, he pretty much like said that Sam Darnold was kind of down on himself after the game, and you know, like saying it's my fault, it's my fault. But shout out to Ernest Jones, man, great teammate, great teammate move. We give him an A+ teammate grade for that one.
Yeah, I mean that's huge to have your quarterback's back when the quarterback is taking the blame. Like I believe most quarterbacks should just take the blame when there's a loss. Like I should have played better. I should have done this. I should have done that. Like at the end of the day, they're the leader of the team, and for your teammates to have your back like that, I think that's going to go a long way for this team. They're 7-3. They're fine. Like, and they're still in contention for the division. Like they're right. They're a game behind the Rams. Like they could still squeak out another win against the Rams and still win the division and have a home playoff game. So I wouldn't be too down on the Seahawks, and I'm not like gloating on the Rams, but that was a good win for them as well. And they're 8-2. Like they're a really good football team. They have both sides of the ball now again after a while. After the Super Bowl win, they kind of went down a little tailspin. Jalen Ramsey's gone. Aaron Donald retires, and you kind of have to fill some gaps there without first round picks until recently. So credit to the both teams. It was a really fun game. The next game that we're going to talk about, Broncos beat the Chiefs 22-19. And what I said last week about the Broncos that went on TikTok and all the places, and everyone got in the comment section like, I haven't watched the game. I've been watching the games. I said the same thing. I was like, the defense, I didn't expect them to be this elite again with the turnover margin and be that good. That's all I said about the defense. And they have been that good. The offense stinks. It's bad. Like Bo Nix, every time I turn around, he's making a boneheaded play. But yesterday, he didn't make too many boneheaded plays. 295 yards, only 2 sacks. He didn't have a touchdown, didn't have an interception. That's huge. No turnovers there. That was massive. And he held the Chiefs at bay just enough to keep them under 20 points. You win the game 22-19, kick the field goal as time expired, I believe. So great job by the Broncos. I mean, they're 9-2 at this point. They're running away with the AFC number one seed. Like the Colts are still technically in it, but like I don't think I have that much faith in Daniel Jones, but they could. They could still steal it. But the Broncos are number one in the AFC. They beat a division opponent. They're keeping them out of the playoffs right now. They're 5-5. That's a big deal to keep the Chiefs out of the playoffs because when the Chiefs are in the playoffs, they usually win. So great game by the Broncos defense, and credit to Bo Nix for not fucking shit up. Basically, good job.
Yeah, the Broncos defense again played really, really well against the Chiefs. They they kind of made Patrick Mahomes look so bad that social media Chiefs fans were saying Patrick Mahomes has fallen off. That's how great the Broncos defense played against Patrick Mahomes. And then on the other side, Bo Nix, he didn't have the stats like you said to not a great stat game, but he made two big plays in the fourth quarter to quote unquote ice the game and get them down in good field goal range to give Will Lutz enough room to make the game winning field goal. So I think this is a team that and you can say this about pretty much every good team except for a couple, except for a select few this season. They haven't looked great all year, but they when it matters, they've gotten it done. They've made plays, whether it's the offense, whether it's the defense, whether it's the other team just not playing well at the end of games. But bottom line, in close games, they've been really, really good.
Yeah, they're winning one score games. They're winning games where they have to come back by 26 points in the fourth quarter. Like they're doing all kinds of crazy stuff. Credit to them. They're playing really well. And the Chiefs are at a point where they can't run the ball. And their best receiver is Travis Kelce at 90 years old. It's not a position you want to be in any way, shape, or form because their defense played really well yesterday. They only allowed 22 points. Like that's good enough to win a game. And offense couldn't really do anything. Patrick Mahomes had the pick and they just didn't run the ball. Like Kareem Hunt had 13 carries for 59 yards and Patrick Mahomes had 1 for 3. That was it. They weren't able to run the ball against that Broncos front seven, and they weren't really able to pass the ball to anyone outside of Travis Kelce. And when you take Travis Kelce away, there wasn't a whole lot there. So credit to the Broncos defense. They're a hell of a team on that side of the ball. I think the offense is still kind of middling. They only had 59 yards rushing, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what the stats say. Winning football games is all that matters.
Yeah, and I think one last thing on the Chiefs offense is, after they blew out the Raiders, I think the entire country was saying, "Man, Patrick Mahomes is back. They look like an explosive offense again." Rasheed Rice looked great in that game, and then just
Yep.
ever since, I think they've just gone up against teams that they can take away Travis Kelce, like you said. They just don't have enough weapons right now to where the Chiefs offense can kind of take advantage and just win with explosiveness like they were, in 2018, 2019, all those years. I think that Chiefs team is gone. And so I think the last couple years I've been kind of figuring out, okay, how can we offensively move the ball and, be explosive. And when they can't run the ball, it's just so hard for that offense to do
And
that.
that's for every team, but especially the Chiefs. If they were just able to run the ball a little bit, like 80 to 90 yards a game, like that freed up their passing game just enough to win games. So yeah, tough for the Chiefs. They're 5-5. That's a shame. Hate to see it. Last game that we're going to talk about: the Lions versus the Eagles, Sunday Night Football. The wind was majestic. You see the field goals pregame that they were kicking, where the ball was just slicing like one of my drives, where I don't have my driver on the golf course, and it just goes off the face of the earth on the right side. That was really entertaining to see. I love those types of games. We're getting to that type of weather. We're getting to real football weather here in the middle of November. But at the end of the day, the Lions offense was just not really existent outside of Jahmyr Gibbs, and the Eagles did just enough. 16-9. Terrible game at the end of the day, but the controversy towards the end of the game. AJ Brown gets that PI call and should not have been a PI call in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, that call. I don't want to say it was the worst one I've seen all season, but it was it was up there. Um, and the Lions probably shouldn't have won the game anyway. aside from
No,
that call. But you know, I think every time we have one of these calls, it's the next Monday morning. There's always conversation around the country about the refs got to do their job and like just let them play, and we hear it every single time, right? And I think this time it's valid because there was a little bit of physicality, a little bit of hand fighting, but I think
that's
especially
no.
in that moment, you can't make that call. If like Chris Collinsworth on the broadcast was saying that's an offensive pass interference. If it was me, I disagree with him. I just would not make a call at all.
Yeah, I think it was hand fighting, which is very normal. And unless you're grabbing his arms when the ball's in the air and preventing him from going to catch the ball, there's no pass interference there on my end. It wasn't the worst pass interference call of the game or of the day. Early in the morning, over in Madrid, there was a play like late in the third quarter. The Commanders were locked down on their like 10-yard line, way back in their own end, and there was a play that went like 15 yards down the field. It was a big pass, and they call pass interference when the guy, I think it was Jack Jones, doesn't even touch him in any way, shape, or form, and the ball was 10 feet above the receiver. So unless that guy was 15 feet tall, it was an uncatchable ball. But there was also no contact, and Mike McDaniel was losing it. He said, I'm tired of this shit," is what his direct quote was to the ref, which is very funny. But refs make mistakes. I get it. But when it's that ticky-tacky and it's that late in the game, I don't think you can call it. Like last night, we watched the Rockets, Alperen Şengün. He hits the game-tying bucket as time expires to go 102, go to overtime, and he probably got fouled, but they didn't call it because that was a game-deciding play. If he gets the foul call, he goes to the free throw line and they win the game on a free throw. Like, that's not entertaining. I appreciate when refs kind of step out of the way and are like, all right, in the first quarter, the second quarter, I'm calling that all day long. But that's when the game's kind of getting decided. This is a big play in the game, keeps the Eagles on the field. And at the end of the day, you can't call that, especially with how bad the call was. Like, it was ticky tacky. If you're going to call that, that's a first quarter call, and the rest of the game, you don't let it happen. But Eagles were beneficiaries of it. The Lions offense was just simply not good enough to win that game in the first place. So you can make all your calls about that, but the Eagles kind of deserve to win this game. They didn't make mistakes where the Lions did, and they just weren't able to move the ball at a good rate. They didn't put up a lot of points. They only scored one touchdown and one field goal. I don't feel bad about the result. I just feel bad about the call.
Yeah, it was one of those games where you can argue that it kind of altered the game, the way the game might have gone, but at the same time, like this is a game where the Lions, Dan Campbell, I I think I saw a stat where they said the Lions went for it 5 times on fourth down and they didn't get a single one. And I know that at least one of them was in the red zone. So like, just take the points, man. Like, yeah, you might not have won the game, but oh, I kind of talked about this the other week actually on the podcast where
Yeah.
with the Lions specifically, and like, okay, you might not win the game, but it might have made a difference if you kicked the field goal instead of went for it on fourth down.
Yeah. And the wind was crazy. So, like, going forward in that game, I don't feel as bad about, but like, I'm always team take points. 95% of the time, take the points. I know Joe Shad, he's a Dolphins reporter for Miami Herald, I believe. He was like pulling up all these numbers about if they went for it on that fourth down and goal with like a minute and a half left in the game, there was a 73% chance of them winning. And if they kicked the points, it was a 70% chance of winning. And I was like, what are we talking about? 3%? With a nerd, an analytical nerd, just telling me it's 3% chance you win the game better if you just don't kick the field goal and you try to go for it and score a touchdown. That seems stupid to me. You just kicked the field goal. The defense did enough to keep them away. They missed the field goal to end the game, and you still ended up winning game. But at the end of the day, take the points. Points are valuable in the NFL, especially right now when a lot of teams aren't scoring 44 points like the Bills. Like a lot of points, like 9-16. We had a 22-19 game. We had 16-13 games today. Like, take the points. The points are so valuable. At the end of the day, just take them. I know that's not Dan Campbell. I know he's not going to do it. So I'm not yelling at him. I'm yelling at all the other teams because just take the points, dude. It's
I think
ridiculous
we're
at this
just
point.
that Simpsons meme where the grandpa's yelling at the cloud. I think that's also take
Yeah,
the points
old
right
man yells
now.
at cloud. Yeah, take the points. I'm always team take the points. I don't care what the analytics say. But that'll do it for Play Action Takes Week 11 NFL recap. Hell of a week. A lot of entertaining games. A lot of gross games that were still entertaining. And we had a lot of upsets. We had a lot of fun games. So let's hope Week 12 is the exact same. Make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, wherever you get podcasts on audio platforms like Apple, Spotify. We've got video on Spotify as well. And we're on YouTube at Apollo HOU. So hit that subscribe button. Let us know what you think about this NFL Week 11 slate. It was fun. I had a good time. What did you do? Hit that comment section. Let us know what you thought. Shout out to our sponsors, Zing Zang, America's #1 Bloody Mary mix. We love Zing Zang over here and Zang responsibly all season long. They got Michelada mix, Margarita mix, Bloody Mary mix, all the good stuff over at Zing Zang, Zang responsibly. And shout out to Underdog Fantasy. Use promo code PATNFL. Play your first $5, get $100 in bonus entries using our promo code PATNFL. That's it for me, Stone Strankman. That's Kush Patel. We'll be back later this week with another episode of Play Action Takes, Apollo Media's NFL podcast.